So that you get athletes who just turn up. They'll turn up, they'll do the requisite amount of work, but that's it. Athletes will turn up to compete, they put a bit more effort in, they try to be the best amongst their group. Then there's the athletes who train to win. They train every day, every session, so that they win on match night. And then there are just those very few players who train to dominate. They train so hard that winning is inevitable on race night.
And the English coach is Bill Beswick from Manchester.
Manchester. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. I'm here with Pommy. It's the double. You know something's gone wrong when Pommy's here for the double on a Monday. Hello, mate.
Yeah, I'm just called in. When shit hits the fan. Like, even 2023, you did me the best run we've ever had. And I got the only loss in that great run. So, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you were watching earlier, you would have heard that what we're going to do to start the show is everyone's going to pour themselves a cup of tea. So, Pommy, you got a cup of tea there? What do you got there, mate?
Got nice Yorkshire tea, mate.
Yorkshire tea? What's Yorkshire tea?
It's just the brand, mate, but it's the brand that I grew up on. That proper. You know what I mean? Look at that. Nice. No sugar, just milk and vibes.
So black tea with bit of milk.
Splash of milk, mate. Dab of milk. 4 tea bags, so it's strong.
Okay. Well, I've gone. Well, what about you guys and girls at home? What are you drinking? Let us know. I've gone with the OG cup that my sister bought me for Christmas one year, and she got embarrassed because she thought it was a bad present. So I made sure to show some love to her by drinking from it in stream. I've got a lemon and ginger tea. Pommy, thoughts?
Each their own, mate. Hey. Mate, all that tells me, Terry, is that you would be on the outside doing the running, and I'd be there getting the hard ball, just flipping it out to you, mate.
I will know my role, my friend. I will know my role, mate, and I'll play it to the best of my ability.
I'll be there next to Cripper. Do you know what I mean? Just us with our big tees and you with your hydrolytes and stuff like that. We'll just do it with brute strength and ignorance.
Well, Bridget's got straight tequila. Matthew's got the sparkling water. Sandra's got the Pepsi Max.
Darling. You know what? I've got into sparkling water recently. How good's fizzy water?
You drink fizzy water?
Yeah, mate.
I'm here for it. I'm here for your fizzy water era.
Mate, it's better for you, isn't it, than Coke and stuff like
that. Yeah. Well, that's true.
So it feels like you're having something fun, even though you're not.
SP Bun Short's got lemon and ginger. You've got a lemon and ginger, or you're drinking lemon and ginger? Julie doesn't drink tea. Jonathan Tedelato is boiling the kettle. Okay, yeah, good to see you returning to the tradition of rolling out Pom during the diet times.
Look at fat.
What's Faz? I'm drinking toilet water. Oh, very good. Oh gosh, that's so good. Lemon pop, same as Pom, but Yorkshire leaf.
Oof, good man.
Yeah. Peter's got the chamomile tea. Peter, you got honey in there. Scotty boy, he's got the English breakfast. DJ Shields, Yorkshire tea is the best tea in the world. I've got to try it.
Yorkshire, mate. Can he beat it, mate? Can he beat it?
A Corona for Wolfie O'Halloran. 2 teaspoons of coffee, no sugar for Johnny Holden. Love that. Bit of tonic water for Alex. Damien's got some scotch. Peter Hayward, a man after my heart, with some green tea. This might be the funniest comment of the year.
Drinking toilet water.
Homemade vino, a bucket of red wine. Anybody else drinking something. What have we got? English breakfast with no sugar. La Aqua. Peter's got the honey and the chamomile, lemon ginger, Nesquik chocolate. Oof.
Ooh, Shan.
Ooh.
Hello.
Oh,
yes. All right.
Um,
that you can tell she's a mum.
Yeah.
That's a proper mum treat. I love it.
Yeah. A chai latte for Deoni. What have we got? Jim Azure. Oh, yes. The competitors. Oof. Spilt the tea on Friday. I did. Turmeric tea is yum. Bit of whiskey for Michelle. All right. Something else made my day. Something else made my day today. What did LS say? You know, things are bleak when you unplug your Nan's life support just to see when he gets West Coast in round 5.
Chat's on fire. Well done.
That is on par with Frankie saying he'd rather have fucking cancer again than watch us play in round 1. Oh,
dear, well played.
I got one more thing that might cheer some people up and give a bit of a laugh. I received today a couple of things. One, arguably the most thoughtful, greatest gift I've ever received. And two, I think this will be the end of the curse in some ways. So, you know how we make fun of the bobbleheads?
Oh, no. Yes.
So, Christine, who I think she's in the chat, Christine sends me a card today, a thank you card, and take a look at this. It's a bobblehead.
Holy.
It's so like me, like the eyebrows are on point, that kind of thing. And also, I don't know if you can see, there's like a mole on the side of the face, which is right where mine is as well. So, Christine, thank you. And I'm a fucking bobblehead now. So that made my day.
Mate, you can't beat it.
What made your day today, Pom?
Well, I haven't really been down, so nothing really was needed. Oh, this game.
Hey.
Shout out League Tees.
G Ravity, 10 votes.
So that cheered me up, I suppose. So Mrs. Pom's got that. She's wearing it as a 90. So that's a dub, I suppose. I don't know. Kids probably they cheered me up a little bit.
Yeah,
just being
probably
themselves.
Should have probably asked that question in about half an hour. So, what we're going to do tonight is continue on with what we spoke about in the ratings. We'll unpack Thursday a little bit, but I think the whole purpose of what we do here on the channel is it's a cycle, win or lose. In this case, it's 4 losses in a row: bad loss, disappointing loss, frustration, anger, disappointment, and then we just kind of got to make sure that we keep moving instead of getting stuck in the mud. So, Pommy, how do we do that?
Well, I mean, I think what we just got to do is we just got to I always like to look for reasons to fix things and look at where we can go from here. Because let's be honest, I don't think, in as much as we want, nothing's going to dramatically change. So we've got to try and get ourselves in that coach's box, in the club. Think, what would we be doing if we were there right now to try and get ourselves out of the pickle we find ourselves in?
It's interesting because evidently we've lost a bit of faith in those that are actually paid to do this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't restore that. I'm good. Can't do that. I mean, I'm good. I can't do that. Soz.
All right. So let's break this down. Chat, play along here. We're going to do what worked and what didn't work. What worked on Thursday? We'll start there.
Well, I mean, I think you could copy and paste me every review. The first quarter you do see that nice short, sharp handball movement. Bring them onto you. You hit them back over the top. Again this week we had scores as well. You know the one that kills me, the sign of a very good ball moving side is teams that can score from kick-ins. We usually kill Carlton for this, but again, they had 2 goals from kick-ins, showcasing that they can get the ball moving forward efficiently in the hardest area to break a kick-in defence. It's pretty good. That's why you don't get many scores from there. Shows when it works, it works. So I think they're the positives. Like, I'll say this, as much as I've criticised this team since the pre-season, as much as I have, I'll reiterate, the cure is in what you see. It's about getting it at the right areas, but the cure is in there. And that is always a positive. From a coaching perspective, if your student is doing the right things, even 1 out of 10 times, that's a positive, because the first one is the hardest. Doing it once is hard.
Yeah.
Becoming repeatable is easy.
Yeah. LS, can we talk about selection integrity moving forward? This year is almost a write-off. We're better off playing the kids over the Govs, Acres, etc. Yes, we can. Let's pause that for 20 minutes. We'll get back to it. If I forget, please remind me. Okay. I'm feeling like Jacob Wiedering in his post-game presser when he's like looking for positives and then he pauses and he's like, nah, I'm not going to go down that path. But there were some passages of play and there were moments in the first half where I thought, wow, this ball movement is coming along. That's about all I found that worked.
Yeah, and he dies under pressure. And what I've done is I've tried to deep dive. So I don't know if anyone was on the Kickback show last week. Me and Caden talked heavily that both of our teams are the same teams. We're stuck in a forever cycle of our way is better than the other way, even though the data and the modern guy is saying it's wrong. And it got me thinking, right? Because Caden said something that I didn't know, and that was that Goodwin made a commitment in pre-season that they may lose some games, but they are committed to a new way, right? So then that got me reversing psychology. So he told me, he said this round 20, and I found the footage, and Goodwin said that they'd spent a lot of time in the preseason working this new outside run. They feel like they can beat any side around stoppage and clearance, but it's asking them to do the other things around the ground, and that was not there. And Goodwin mentioned 2 things. 1, I don't have personnel. That's good enough yet. And 2, they maybe need to commit. And he made a promise this year that they would fully embrace it, right? So that got me deep diving. So the good point is the first bit. I need to get the players, right? So you look at their draft this year. They've only had 1 since then. But it makes sense. Xavier Lindsay comes in, an elite 2-way runner. Harvey Langford, who is probably the best conduit for midfield to forward, an elite runner. And Harry Sharp, a POD player with elite speed. So that makes sense, right? And then I deep dived a little bit further. Adelaide have openly changed their game plan this year. Now, Darren Burgess is currently their fitness coach. And the fitness coach, Darren Burgess, in a great interview this year with Isaac Rankine, said, one of the new surprise additions to our group is for us to not be so predictable. And that has happened in training. Darren Burgess, has started to bring surprise elements. No longer are we given how many reps we are doing. No longer is our training session structured week to week. Everyone around the side in pre-season is feeling really fit, because what he's brought in is having a belief that you can do training no matter what, anytime, anywhere, whether that's a 2-kilometer run, 5K, or basic drills. This mental side has now mirrored up with our physical side, where at any one moment in time, Darren can suddenly change the training session from when we're doing basic defense 50 exits to a 5-kilometer run midway through it. The idea is for us to be mentally prepared to adapt to anything at any shape, but also have faith in our ball skills and our fitness can cope with the change. When we play games now, we experience training. It is different all the time.
Right.
So that got me thinking. One of them is training, isn't it? Is training. You can't prepare for pressure, and one thing's obvious. The two things are obvious without looking at stats. One, first quarter's half's good, second half shit, right? So then you go to this, don't you? Are we not fit enough? Carlton are the biggest running side in the league. So they are fit enough. You don't have half your team running over 15 kilometres if you're not fit. What's the next thing you look at? Are they adaptable? Is that an issue? And I think adaptability is the big issue, because when we looked at Melbourne, who have bought players, 2023, Voss came in. That was his first trade period. And Nick Austin did a quality interview where he said we had to target outside run. We were confident with our stoppage and clearance game, but the modern day game is built off spread. And you look at that draft, Akers, Hollands, all Jackson Binns, we tripled down, quadrupled down on outside run. And our numbers reflect it. You look at that, it was different. You look to where we are now, and it's quite fascinating. We've done the inverse of Adelaide and the inverse of Melbourne, and we've tripled down on our contested game, which would then account for a fascinating little bit of Goodwin's presser the year they won the flag. And he was like, we can no longer rely on bashing up the opposition in the contest. We have to get the ball forward quickly and smoothly as possible. And that is the shift from Paul Roos's game plan, which was men behind the ball. We have to look to get the ball moving faster and find moments to rest with manic forward pressure. 2023, Carlton one of the best forward pressure sides in the league. Stoppage was the best in the league. There is the change. Carlton have gone more back to that real men behind the ball. Paul Roos stable them up. And they've lost that area where we used to be able to, in 2023, lock the ball in the forward half so we could rest. The problem is now sides have adapted. And that's why Melbourne have had to adapt. Go and watch any team this week. Gold Coast Adelaide is the perfect example. Manic 200 pressure in the forward half of the ball. Not one kick in the back line. Teams handball around that pressure, waiting for the overlap run to then make them run back after them. And that's what Carlton don't do in them second halves, because they don't react to that pressure. So I think Darren Burgess is a big thing there, what he said. These players aren't used to being adapting. I reckon training is this. Wednesday, 5 o'clock, we do a jog. Wednesday, 5:30, we do this. Darren Burgess is saying none of them players know what they're doing day to day. So you imagine how that works from a psychological point. If you're ready to suddenly do this at a moment's notice, forward pressure changes, you're already used to it because this is training again for you. So that's a fascinating thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Where'd you find those comments again? Oh, through Caden.
Yeah, so Caden, because when I brought Caden on the show, I chose Caden for a reason. I didn't want to do a show. I had to cancel a guest because they were 3-0. And I was like, I ain't doing a show with some dickhead who's like, but Caden came on, and because Caden was 0-3 as well, it was good. And I'd done a video in the review that day where I'd said that Melbourne and Carlton are almost the same. They're playing an arrogant game style where they're playing to the strengths of their best players, not the list. And then Caden mentioned end of last season, Goodwin was changing the system, but he admitted halfway through he can't afford the losses, so they had to smarten it up. But then he doubled down this year and said, no matter what, we are committed to this new brand. We've gone out and bought the players. We'll keep doing it. So it's fascinating that Carlton haven't got them excuses. Do you know what I mean? They haven't got the excuses because they have brought that outside run. Yeah. It's more that we're not committed to that new way of playing, and it now is getting worse, isn't it? It's getting worse, and it's not sustainable. We said it in 2024. You can't rely on your pressure, but teams are waiting now, and it's becoming almost methodical. Like I enjoyed watching the Pies beat us in that second half because it's methodical. It's like literally, if you were a coach It's the same way Richmond beat us. It's the same way that Dogs beat us. It's the same way that Hawks beat us. And if it's the same pattern, you can reverse that. But the problem is, are we committed? Because the answer isn't what Voss says. And that's what worries me. When Voss says we just have to go harder for longer, it's impossible to go harder for longer. Statistics are saying it's impossible. We can't physically get fitter than having 5 blokes running 16Ks. It's not possible.
So, chat, those of you tuning in from home, what didn't work? Apart from what we've just touched on there. Tommy?
For me, the big thing is how quickly when the pressure comes that it changes. So in second halves this year, Carlton average 559 more metres gained per half in that, meaning the ball goes longer. Their efficiency goes down 18.7. Their contested possession rate goes up 19.5%. So that links with the efficiency. They're playing a more contested brand. And the stoppages created are higher, which says to me it is a game plan design to create more stoppages to try and slow the game down and make it less labour intensive on the legs, but it makes it physically intensive. And one of my favourite stats by Carlton at the minute in the second half is it's on average 4.9 more touches to get the ball inside 50, which is funny because the method to stop football when you are under pressure is slow the game down. Carlton are actually slowing the game down by going longer and having more touches for less metres gained to then get the dump kick, the long bomb, where you look at other good teams. Do you know what I mean? They play short. They play short and keep possession, pulling you out.
Yeah. That inability to figure it out in the moment, or even just stay focused in the moment and stay present in the moment and think their way through traffic. Do you think that's coming from a confusion of the game plan, resistance to the game plan, or do you think there's just something else happening on the inside that's just on their mind that's just stopping them from being fully present and thinking their way through? Because they've done it. They were able to reach that trait only 12 months ago.
Well, I think the big thing was 2023, if you go back to then, the pressure was crazy in the final third. So, like, to answer Wooden Spoon that, I'd challenge his notion that uncontested possessions is one of the most useless stats unless you have context. So, let's look at someone completely useless. Okay, so if we went back to Jordan Boyd's game in 2024, he had a game where he had 82% uncontested possessions. That was structure allowed him to. If you look at Sam Davidson, that wasn't elite running by Sam Davidson because 4 Carlton players ran more than a kilometre than him. That was structure of leaving him out. So uncontested possessions aren't just your running. There's no real link to that. The link you would have there on running would be players that overlap run, which Carlton don't create overlap run. So you look at the raw data, the GPS, considering Carlton's average player runs about 15.2 in its midfield, again this week, outrunning its opposition, they are a good running side. And like Daniel Hoyne says, Carlton are the top 3 kilometres ran per side. It's not a fitness issue. It's probably how hard they're working, where if you watch Carl Amon run 15.5, he's running intelligently. Carlton are running for the sake of having to get back in numbers. That's a big difference. You'd rather someone run 12 kilometres in space than 16 kilometres contest to contest.
Right. Some really interesting comments here. Very in-depth.
So the transition and overlap is a great point. Voss likes to play a team defence and a team attack. So you look at how many people we commit behind the ball and when we win the ball back, particularly the second half when the game gets tired. There's no one there to spread to. There's no one there to pass to because they get caught in transition. There was a great bit of footage that someone sent me today. You've forgotten your name. You sent me it at half time. But there was a huge where they picked on Chera and Doc. But you look at how often they get caught in that transition of we win the ball back, but they don't return to the offensive phase. They're almost paggered from there. That's crazy. Like that. That's crazy because that is a tired system because them guys have had warped contested possessions.
Yeah. So, okay, that's what worked and that's what didn't work. Clearly, there's more things that are not working than are working. So, I guess the next part of this discussion is what is the way out?
I think play people to their strengths. Like, I genuinely think we've just done the rating show.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the team, the total team. For those that don't watch the rating show, this is how the team rated. You can see defenders, midfielders, and forwards. You can see where it's really broken down, but also there's some context here that the defenders have better numbers because they're under a lot more pressure and the ball's there a lot more. But this is one of the biggest drop-offs in one line on the field that I think I've seen from this group. Like it's you can say below par. This is abhorrent. This is as bad as it can get for an entire line.
Yeah, so I mean, like let's pick on a player. So let's pick on we'll pick on Haynes. So when you watch when you watch anyone who plays in that loose back pocket role, right? One of the big things we're going to see is genuinely a loose player who's going to be using his strengths. So usually that was McGovern last year. But you look at the players when we win the ball, right? In that second half, like this week, we had a key forward running at 15 kilometers up and down the ground, right? I did some data research. Jesse Hogan only ran 7 kilometers this week. That's nearly half. So you can see there that when we get the ball, we don't have anyone fighting for space. But that isn't because they can't do it. That is because you look at how Voss plays. It's a very, very everyone around the ball. There was many times when you watched, say, Collingwood, they came into our attack 5 versus 9, 5 versus 10. So we were actually outnumbering them. And there was a few times on the live, I see some of you in the chat who were on the live, I said, how the hell are we losing this contest? We have the outnumber. But that's the case. Carlton really used the ball in stupid areas. Like when people talk about Carlton's disposals, you look at the amount of contested possessions and then the handball receives in dangerous areas. Cripps is probably one of the most guiltiest players for this. Wins the ball in contest, handballs to another person in contest. Where when we were picking on, can't remember, Cooper Lord, him on the attacking side out in space. Why is Chera not getting into that area as well? Do you know what I mean? He's running 14.5 kilometers per game, but 90% of that is him just running backwards. Where you're seeing intelligent running, we call it in sport. That's what the niche word. That 14.5 Ks should be 7 Ks backwards, 7 Ks forward. Carlton are basically chasing shadows because Voss commits 18 men to chase the ball. We've almost playing last week in the fourth quarter 18 Rovers, if you know what I mean. The old school 80s Rovers. It was like 18 guys were charged with following the ball. And you look, top teams, structure, top teams defending structure, not numbers. And that's why GWS, they were brilliant this weekend. They don't have to run very far. For necessity, they run very far to break the game open. And at the moment, that's basically what Nick Austin's done. Players are getting picked because they can run 16 Ks and tackle.
There's not a lot right now when I watch them play that creates energy for them. The reward on the end of whatever hard work they put in seems to suck a lot of energy out of them. Like haven't, I mean, maybe the first half against the Tigers, there was a lot of momentum there and it was a bit more free flowing. I want to say it was due to the opposition, but we lost the game. So there's that. right now, it just looks like everything they're doing again becomes so, I mean, labor intensive is the word, laborious is the word. There's just like a lack of Carlton spirit amongst them. And even when it comes there in patches, it doesn't feel real.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at like top teams that have gone from this to another level. I always like to look at Collingwood here. You remember when they finished 17th in 2021?
Yeah.
When they did that micro reset?
Yep.
And it was a the words that Fly used, a high pressure game plan, complemented by fitness and playing at the limit of our physical and mental edge capacity. And you look at how that system changes via players. So when you look at like Ed Allen play, that wing role changes dramatically from when it's Josh Dacos or Steele Sidebottom. We talked about Steele Sidebottom today. Plays a little bit more defensive because he can't run 16, 17 Ks anymore. So gives himself a little bit of time to win the ball, move it on. It's a very fluid system, but you look at how Collingwood play, Tim Membry slots into that system straight away and they've played to his strengths. Lead up the ground, create space in behind. Bobby Hill, Cole will go there. But when you watch Carlton play, Lewis Young is playing almost the identical role that Harry Mackay played. Lead up the wing as the outlet ball and then drop into full forward. The difference being Harry Mackay is 10 times the footballer as Lewis Young.
Mm-hmm.
There's the problem. I think if you actually asked Michael Voss the 18 roles on our field and the 4 on the bench, I think he has a pigeonholed way of how they play. I don't think he's got that talent base. So someone like Ollie Hollands, elite runner, one of the few players that runs 15 Ks, but also leads the sprints per game and top 3 of sprint speeds. That's insane to be that fit. He's not played like that, though. He's not played to that strength. His strength, literally, we just use, you can run, you can pressure. The big problem is he's built like a 2-year-old. So the tackling we want won't come because he won't tackle. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible. Like, if you're a normal size, you'll shrug Ollie Hollands off. Where I reckon if you gave him to any other club, they would play him to his strengths. This week, a great move I saw Brisbane. Jesper Fletcher, very similar traits to our Oliver Hollands. I covered him in the draft, and he was a big fan of. I was a big fan of Jasper's. They moved him this week to halfback to play a give and go and overlap. And then they slotted players in behind him and they played a defensive winger. We'd never think of that because we're literally getting Ollie Hollands to play like Nick Newman.
Yeah.
It's almost like Nick Newman's there, but you've got a shit version of him. And where a good coach would go, what's the difference between you two? And let's play to the strengths of this guy. We're just going, well, Nick Newman does that. So, Ollie, cheers, mate. Can you do it? And I think that's where you're seeing the fall off because it's impossible, Terry, to do what you're doing. And you can argue with me all you want. People can argue. There is no way you can physically maintain this. Melbourne's win was the outlier on the way the game's gone. And the game is 3 years more advanced. No one plays like this anymore.
Mm. So where do you sit on, just to bring back in LS, the part about this comment is where I want to explore this conversation. So he says here, the year is almost a write-off. Where do you sit on looking for the future and giving up on the current best group that you've got and then continuing to persist with the current best group that you've got?
Well, to be fair, I think LS makes a great point. I think that you've got to play your best 22. You've got to, like for me, where we are now, Carlton fans need to be honest. I know everyone wants a rebuild. Everyone says blow it up. But the true hard facts are we've got no picks next year. Our first pick is our second rounder, which is a bought pick. So it's not even ours. So you can delist 12 players. You haven't got 12 picks that are value to bring in. And the players you're willing to kill, Kent, players like that, hold zero value in AFL football. So when people cry, oh, I've got Francis Evans, if you get rid of all the players you're listing in chat now, you're going to get 6 Francis Evans just to fill a list.
Yeah.
So it's counterintuitive. You'd have to sell big name players to have a full rebuild. Carlton have obviously a 6th at the minute with the oldest players to retire. You've got to start playing to their strengths. And I think you're seeing stunned development because when you look at this, like Matt Carroll, for instance, Matt Carroll is never playing high half-back for Carlton Football Club. And this is Voss, this leadership group has proven that when a player comes into seniors, he goes into the shit kicker's job, which used to be Alex Chincotter's job. It's now Lockie Cowan's job full-time. Lockie Cowan didn't get the high half-back job, even though that was his role as a junior. What is going to happen is he will play in that back pocket as a lockdown. So everyone going, oh, he kicked beautifully. He didn't really. He was just uncontested when he did it. He's going to be so contested, and you're going to see that game you saw against GWS and St Kilda when he played, where he was a turnover merchant in that St Kilda game in the preseason because they pressured and targeted him. So there's the problem you've got. You're never going to get development because you do need easy games for development in the seniors, which other clubs afford their players. We don't. You play a hard role. We're almost playing like, that 1980s mentality. You're not allowed to call me by my first name. You've got to earn your stripes. When they come into the seniors, they're made to work.
Well, that actually brings up that next rabbit hole around development. If I had $1 for every time someone said play Ashton Moyer this year alone, I'd have about $21,568. And we see him come in and we see him not ready to play at the level. Watch the VFL. I mean, what did you make of the VFL over the weekend in the context of what's coming through and the narrative around play the kids, even though I didn't watch the VFL?
Well, you see, look, I am Ashton Moyer's biggest fan. And I was massively against him coming in. So for those who have watched, I have fought against it all year. And it was no surprise to me that Ashton had, as I described it in the ratings, the worst professional football game I've ever seen. It was appalling. There's no way to defend it. And I love Ashton. But in his defense, that's not his best position. That's not how he should be played. But when he plays VFL, he doesn't play it. And it's the same as like people saying, oh, Matt Carroll's a good kick. I'm trying to help you understand how the VFL works. The VFL isn't there to win games. It's there to develop footballers. But Matt Carroll playing at half-back flank, right, being gifted easy touches out the back half of the ground in space when the game gets infinitely harder in the AFL. Listen to Chincotta on my show where he said it is a different game. It's like comparing golf to baseball. They both use things you hold in your hand and you hit a ball, different discipline. He's never playing that high halfback role for the football club. What will happen next week is if Matt Carroll came in, they would play Ollie Hollands or Doc as that high halfback or Zach Williams, who's now taking it. He would then go to back pocket. And when people say he's a good kick, we've already seen Matt Carroll. We've got enough data to show us when he had high contested possession rates versus in juniors, it fell down to about 50%. In AFL, that's going to fall down to about 30, 20% because the bodies are bigger, the pressure's greater. So that is the big problem there. You can't just bring him in because he ain't playing the role he's learning. They're teaching him the role we hope he's going to have. But when he comes into seniors, we've never been the type of club that plays these players in the same role. Case in point, Paddy Dow was played as the first midfielder in the VFL. And what did I always used to say to you? When you all used to come on the show and cry and go, Dow's got to be in. Dow's got to be in. I was like, you're going to drop Walsh, you're going to drop Cripps and play him, right? And then he'd come in and he'd play the 4th, 5th midfielder. He'd be absolutely painting, wouldn't he? Absolutely pish. He's now playing at Saints and can't even get a game when he was fit. So there's the problem. Like, the problem is our development isn't actually fitting him in to this side. If you told me Michael Voss said, you know what, I'll play Matt Carroll high half back, we'll take a risk this week, I'd be like, okay, cool. That's brilliant. But the problem is if you're bringing him in to play back pocket, he's going to get battered, lose his confidence, and then you've got a Brody Kemp situation where he played 8 different roles in juniors, 8 different roles in VFL, and now you're asking him to play the most specific role in the final third as a third tall forward. It's never going to work because his confidence is just going to be peppered. So you'll never develop players. Listen to Collingwood talk about Bo McQuarrie. They talk about him like a god, like he's their best player. They're really excited about him. Listen to how we talk about Fogarty. There's a big difference in culture and development.
Do you think we invest enough in our VFL and our development of players?
For me, the way I look at it is Ben Camporelli came in to this side, into this side because he was a ball accumulating genius, right? That could change the game. I think we've got a lot of money in there, Terry. I think we've got a lot of money. I think we are putting a lot of effort into it. I think the problem is I watched Ben Camporelli play in VFL and was like, okay, he's playing that Chera role here. He's never playing that role in the seniors. Where at another club, he would come in and they'd be like, right, Hewitt Cripps, protect this guy. We're going to make him play this role because that's how he's got there. Already, I can see just from one VFL game, Carlton are starting to make Ben Camporelli be something he's not. And that is a big issue.
So it's a philosophy around playing a role as opposed to playing to your strengths.
Yeah. So like, and you see, this is the thing, like just chat. I'm not picking on you, but like Matt Carroll on the wing. It's the most sophisticated position in the AFL now, the wing. All the top teams have elite wingers. He's not good enough to play back pocket in the AFL. And you're saying, let's just bring him in. He'll relish the challenge. Could also work the other way, right? And that's what's happening at this minute. Some of the players, we're already seeing it. Ollie Hollands, if anyone watched the draft, he was 7 in some people's rankings. He was 6. He was elite at what he did. Look at first-year wingers. They're playing the easiest role. Darcy Wilson, look at Xavier Lindsay. No defensive responsibility. Play to your strengths. As soon as he came to Carlton, do you remember the first game against Richmond? He was tagging Camden McIntosh. I watched Xavier Lindsay play his first game for Melbourne out in space, and they deployed Ed Langdon to defend him. A star, his job was to sit behind him, help him out. So that's how you develop. You've got to get the confidence. Like, it's all right saying you'll never know, but we're talking about elite football here. Like, Tom Atkin at Geelong, a good mate of mine, works with Geelong, right? Their VFL team. And I remember him saying, you wait till you see Tommy Atkin. He's the Selwood replacement. I burst out laughing over a game of golf with him. I was like, mate, give us what you're smoking. That first year he came in, elite, because they'd hid him away for 2 years, playing the role for seniors and feeding him little bits, 20 minutes a game when he came in, playing that role. So that's a big difference. Big difference to us and them.
QD, Quentin Daniels asks, who is worthwhile bringing in from the VFL, especially with the out of form players in the seniors?
Well, you know what?
This isn't a savior situation. It doesn't seem like this is not. I think there might be a feeling out there that this is a selection savior situation. I don't think it is.
But you've got to look. Who do you want to? I'll make it easy if you're Quinton and chat. Give me 3 names of people you want to drop. I reckon we've all got the same 3 names. But then I'm going to present you the problem in what you're asking. Because the VFL guys, it's going to be a simple answer. But I'll be honest with you, Cowan, he's out. Logically, to play that role, if you looked at body, mind, mass, the logical replacement is to do like for like, is probably Doc, even though he's smaller. I mean, sorry, not Doc, Boyd. He's probably going to be Boyd. Do you know what I mean? But you'd think Matt Carroll's bigger. Matt Carroll's stronger than Boyd. He's he's an interceptor as well, where Boyd isn't. But you know that they're going to play him there in the back pocket, and then they're going to shift Haynes a little bit higher up and McGovern stays. So suddenly it's already disjointed that way with Zach Williams going in there. But like, to answer Shiny Blue, yes, I'd love Matt Carroll to get some strings of games. Yes, I would. But why would I play Matt Carroll in Fantasia's role, who is a midfield forward? Like, you can't just play people. This is why we're rubbish, because the decisions have always been put a square peg in a cylindrical hole. And people are saying, it's all right, Pom, we'll fix it because we'll get a good pick. You won't get a good pick for TDK. You'll get a pick one after Hawthorns. You'll just get one solitary pick and need to replace a ruckman and fix a midfield. Because if you play Pitternet, you can't use this midfield. We've proven that. So that's the problem. That's the problem.
How much of a difference? So, just to go back to your exercise. So let's just say Doc, Gov, and Young, and Cowan to play the game.
Well, I mean, to play this way, he's got to be a medium-sized player, Terry.
Yeah.
But if we were being serious, and I hope Voss, because Voss is clever. He's not totally stupid. Do you know what I mean? He can't be totally stupid. If Voss is clever, I would love to see this week Wheater and Silvani key position players. He chooses one of McGovern and Haynes and says, right, you're going to play the third. And then he goes Boyd back pocket, Zach Williams half back, Sard half back, and then brings in someone else. So I'd love him to drop Doc and say, Ollie, you play wing, and I'll bring Matt Carroll in. And Matt Carroll's going to play 40% of the game, and he's going to swing across halfback. We're going to protect him. But that would be good for development if we did it that way. But that won't happen. That won't happen. Like, because it's never happened. But that would be a modern day backline, playing to where you want, playing to the style that you want to play.
Do you think it's too early to play Elijah I mean, Harry's an interesting one because we're basically just waiting for this moment in time when Harry's ready to play, and when he's ready, he'll be selected. That's the kind of read that I get onto it. Also, stop spreading rumors that he broke up with his girlfriend. It's just not true. So there's Harry is in that box. If and when he's ready, hopefully it's this week. Great. If it's not, miss you, love you, would love you to play, but understand that it's tough. What about Elijah? Is it too early? Because I think last week Voss said in his presser last week, it's now based on form with Elijah.
Okay, well, let's go through, right? We'll have a real honest review of the VFL. Real, as if we're not just making stuff up. But if you actually look at that VFL game and you're honest with yourself against Southport, firstly, Southport, they're there to win it. I'd rather us win no games in the VFL and treat the VFL what it should be, an apprenticeship program, right? Because that's what it should be. But Harry Mackay, to answer people's questions, how can Harry play and VFL and AFL? Well, I would say two things. Once that proves to you that it's not relationship based, that it's psychological based. And if you read between the lines, I'd say psychological based, a personal reason, would be he's got issues with his setup and how he's playing. And that's affecting him on and off field. So Harry, case by case, when Harry's ready to play, he plays. And I don't care how much we need him. He's ready when he's ready. And if that means he's got to play VFL for a little bit, do what you want. But if I judge his game, I thought he took his 2 goals well. I thought the issue was I didn't see him impact against the defender. He didn't play hard and close. And he didn't play to his strengths. And one thing I noticed was his kicking technique. His kicking technique in his pre-shot looked stuttered, which says to me he's got a lot on. So no dice for me. I wouldn't make him travel to Adelaide. I'd keep him here, give him another week. Ben Camporelli, really enjoyed it. If Ben Camporelli came in for Cooper Lord this week and played that role, my willy would be stiffer than it was on my honeymoon, mate. Because that is what I want him. Out in space, having a bit of fun. I thought Ben Camporelli, he worked hard defensively and attacking. He would be an option. Corey Durden blags my head. People are raving about Corey Durden. Let's talk about Corey Durden. Spent 40% of the game on ball, then played in the forward line, right? Kicked 0 goals, had 12 tackles. And the big issue you're all complaining about, why do they all tackle and not kick goals? Okay, so let's bring in another guy that's just broken the world record for tackles. That is my issue. Why are you having 12 tackles in the forward line and around the ground, but you're not kicking goals? So, to me, am I gaining anything by bringing him in? I maybe would bring him in for Fogarty and say, kick some goals. But you've got to do it. And then Elijah. Elijah was great, class above. But my issue with Elijah, thinking about how we play, there was 0 defensive intensity. He got lost in transition 3 or 4 times, which cost 4 goals. Yes, he looked good. Yes, he was okay. Yes, he was too good for VFL. But he isn't screaming to me, Pom, I can change the game. And I love Lidge. I love him. Lucas Camporelli, his role was bizarre. Played on the wing. I'd rather him be on the wing than Akers at the minute. But again, didn't free himself up. The game style was against him. And it scared me that I saw what I saw in the seniors for him. A guy that likes to be out in space and have a bit of fun and play the game well. I called him Nick Newman 2.0. I don't see why he's not playing that role. I think that's a strength for him, but he's not. Harry O'Farrell, big positive. Might be 5 years too late, but Carlton actually bought a centre-half back. He looked all right. He's not ready for AFL football, but Jesus Christ. My fear is someone decides to turn him into a full forward. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh shit, we've got a centre-half back, but we only get forwards to play back. Move him forward. Jackson Binns, pish. Lockie O'Brien 2.0. Proper checked out. Proper checked out. That's the 3rd game I've watched of him. He's checked out. He's checked out. Harry Charleston, meh. Harry Lemmy, miles away. That's got D-list at the end of the year written all over it unless he does something dramatic this year. Matty Carroll was okay. My issue with Matty Carroll, 1 tackle. Didn't really defend hard, but he did look good going forward. Billy Wilson, we've turned him into a lockdown player. We've got a guy with raw pace and Adam Sad 2.0, and I'm watching the bloke tag a small forward. Can't believe it. Rob Monaghan is Irish. That's not a knock, by the way, but it means we can't really talk about him. He's learning the game. Jordan Boyd was good. Hudson O'Keefe, another D-list job. Francis Evans, he's called Francis. So what I'm meaning is everyone's saying, but Pom, bring him in, give him a chance. This is why we're rubbish now. I think from a development point of view, is we've always brought players in to give them a chance. At other clubs, they're earning that right. So from an earning right, Ben would only come in because Cooper Lord shouldn't be playing that attacking midfield role. Elijah would only come in because he's been okay. But we should be at a situation, like, I feel like everyone's lost their mind because we're 0-4. Yeah. We should be a fucking top 4 side. We shouldn't be saying, Pom, give me some hope in the VFL. These guys should be banging the door down. Corey Durden having 12 tackles. What use is that to me when I need a small forward to kick goals? Because he ain't playing on the ball in the AFL, is he? Because we've already spent 5 million on midfielders, Terry, that are useless at the minute. So why the fuck are we doing that?
Especially not for 40% of the game.
Bro. Like, this is what I mean. So I can't get my head round when people are saying, like, I agree with you, Luke Rull, spot on. We don't have that luxury. We fucking should have the luxury, though. Why are we just bringing players in? Like, why? Because unless you change the system, there isn't anyone on that list that can run like Usain Bolt for 20 kilometers a game, smash heads, hit contests. The best team to play the system you've got now is the team that went out last week. They're the fittest, they're the physically strongest, they're the
And the most
toughest players we've
experienced.
got. Yeah. So unless Michael Voss says, Pom, I'm playing modern day football, great, let's have the conversation, maybe 6 ins. But if we're serious, they're going to get battered.
Question. Why is it sack Voss and not sack Lloyd?
Because people have got it. You see, I don't even think it should be sack Lloyd. I think people have got it in their head. They keep saying we can't keep sacking it. And then you get these soppy people writing articles going, Dimmer was at Richmond 12 years. Scott's 15 years. Because they made a right fucking decision when they got him in. And they could see the fruits of the labour, tactically, structurally, and development-wise, that said something wasn't right around the team. Yeah? Right? So then let's go back. It's the people doing this recruitment. Brad Lloyd shouldn't have been employed in the first place. Freo couldn't believe he'd left to go to us. They were rejoicing, right? So why is he there? You look at all these people that have been in it. Andrew McKay. Do you remember Malthouse having a pot shot at Andrew McKay? Do you remember when he left?
Yep.
Why is he not working in football anymore? Was Malthouse lying? Because no other fucker's taken him. Who has left Carlton Football Club and someone has bit the hand to give them the same job they had at us? You've got, Kane Liddell. Where's he working now? Pack and save. Do you know what I mean? Bolton went straight back to being an assistant. Teague was jettisoned after a year at Richmond once they had a clear out and had a rebuild. Like, the people we've employed aren't very good. So, for me, who's making these decisions?
Yeah.
They should go.
Well, we saw 2 board changes at 1 p.m. via an email. Am I reading into that by thinking it's too strategic?
Mate, we said it at the time because I was in chat. I was like, everyone open your eyes. They did that because it was a big game. The same way that they told you Elijah was missing the 4 games. They did it the day of the selection of Richmond, knowing Richmond play a week later. You'll win by 8. You'll win by 50. You'll all forget about Lidge. That email should have been, we're 0-3, playing our mortal enemy. Come down with us. Make some fucking noise. You know what? We haven't sold all the tickets. I've personally, as chairman, bought all them 5,000 tickets that are left. If you come through the door in your bag of scarf, we'll let you in. That's what that email shouldn't have been. Not a long essay as one of them's a computer boffin and the other dude works in business and finance. That, again, was another one of them. We've just got more of us on the board without running it by you guys, the members, just snaking him on there with our little special rights.
Because we have an independent nominations committee. Do you think we need to be putting way more pressure on them than what we do? Do you think we get too caught up in what's easier to focus on, which is the coach?
No, you know what I think it is, and I love Dean Macbeth, but I'm going to pick on him. When he says, do your research to me, there's the problem. Carlton fans, every time someone is questioned at the football club that you have held in high esteem because he's somehow blue-blooded or whatever ridiculous thing you call him, you don't dare say anything wrong with him. Because I tell you what, do you think if a top club had rang Andrew and said, come and be our football director, he wouldn't have done that? If he was any good, do you think he would have had a second thought about it? There's the problem. There is the problem. No one ever looks at the real people. They go for the low-hanging fruit. It's easier to say Francis Evans is shit than question why Sam Walsh, after coming back from back surgery, is playing a more physical and harder role than he's ever played. So he's obviously got no back issues for him to play that role. Rob McInnes isn't an idiot. He got Sydney to be the fittest it's ever been. So, but no one questions Sam Walsh's output. Francis Evans is a piece of shit. Francis Evans shouldn't have been signed. But Francis Evans shouldn't have been playing at all. But he had to happen. But you'll pick on Francis Evans, Lewis Young, because they're not blue bloods. Here's a newsflash for Carlton fans. Get this through to your head. Anyone blue-blooded that has represented this football club from 2000 is a specialist in failure. You want them zero near that football club. Absolutely nowhere near it. Because they're not going to teach you anything other than what we always did. Give you the exciting blue bagger and you'll love it. Oh, Cooter will come back in. Oh, it's all right. 0-4 is not so bad because Cooter and so-and-so gave me a free cap. That is the problem. Do you know what I mean? That is the problem. No one looks deeper at the source. No one looks why it's rubbish because it's a club for the boys, job for the boys. We bring up the 16 flags all the time. Like my review said against Richmond, Richmond asked us the question and the only fucking answer we had is we won a flag in 1995. That is the only answer these players had. They didn't know how to do it. And that is what is disgusting. Do you know what I mean? It's defend, defend, defend. Don't ask the right questions to the right people. This is a football club that has been privileged somehow by having 16 flags. So you act like that. You protect it. You endear it and you worship it in the modern day. And at the moment, Brad Lloyd's there because his daddy's good mates with people who are very powerful at Carlton and they won't sack daddy's little boy because then it makes the golf and the coffees a little bit fucking awful next week. Oh, I'm sorry, I sacked your son, Brad. But if they love the club, they would say, sorry, your son's incompetent. I love you, though. Paid him out well, but we're going a right way now. And that's the problem, Terry. That's the problem, mate. If you're slightly blue-blooded, you'll get away with murder. And it's because people don't care. People have got this archaic way. Carlton used to win flags this way, and I want all the boys together. I want all the... Fuck the boys. Because I'll tell you what will make these players happy, giving them the tools to win a flag, because they're not bad players. So when I said at the start of this show, we're meant to be a top four, that is the natural progression. Play finals again. You've got your CEO. We're a top four side. We're going to be a top four side. We want to be a top four side. That is the aim, right? So I go off what the big boy told me. They're not bad footballers, Terry. Cripps isn't a bad footballer, is he? Charlie isn't a bad footballer. TDK isn't.
No, they're not.
So something's wrong, isn't it? Something's wrong for them to be nowhere near that level. Sam Walsh. How come Connor Rosie has added strings to his bow? And Sam Walsh is now playing a role that he's not even designed to play, Terry.
His body doesn't even play. His body has really changed. It's like he's becoming like a Cripps figure.
And I reckon that's the problem, Terry. I reckon our team is built in the mould of the players that we revere. Do you know what I mean? That we love. And it's Banterville. Like, you know, the other day I heard something that absolutely blagged my head. Oh, Carlton only draft athletes, not footballers. I'm like, it's bizarre that, because I was like, unless Australians have a different word for athlete, they're all fucking athletes by default, aren't they? But then you look at how they play, Terry, and you look at every other junior that's come through in the last 2 years of how they play to their strengths. So if we look at Connor Rosie, total different player to Sam Walsh, his progression has always been playing the role. So year one, pure half forward, in space, got to have a little bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? Started to build that defensive side. Year two, a little bit more mid-minutes. Year three, more full-time minutes. Now he's the captain. Now he's on the ball all the time, right? Look at Jason On-Francis, first year at North. Just as good as Sam Walsh in his draft year, I might add. Half forward at North. First year at Port. Bit of half forward, bit of mid. Now he's a full-time mid. Sam Walsh was on the ball day one, Terry. full time. Like, we don't even look after our stars anymore, Terry.
Yeah. Anyway, let's look ahead to Saturday.
Just before I go, I'll say one thing. Look at our draftees, and I'll say you how I know it. I think Harry's problems are linked to how we treat the players on and off the field. We have a pigeonhole stereotype of how you can be. Where do you see the funny dance moves? Where do you see the fun? Where do you see the excitement? Where do you see players speak with genuine heart of heart? The most heart of heart I've seen this week was when Sam Doherty told us about how the cancer nurses saved his life. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen some fucking emotion from Sam Doherty. Other than that, it's monotony, it's boardroom talk. Sam Walsh looks like an intern at JP Morgan when he speaks. It's like, just, I better not make a mistake. The one time was when Patrick Cripps, and I guarantee Patrick Cripps has been told off for this, let's slip a swear word on the radio. That's the real Patrick Cripps. Go back 5 years ago. The real Patrick Cripps is a country boy, a working class man, a man that's worked hard. His family has worked hard. He drops a swear word in here and then. We kill creativity. We kill freedom. These boys are probably feeling the way they do because can you imagine being Sam Walsh, Harry Mackay? He kicked round the corner in his draft year, right? What was last year? Do you remember Voss saying we've got him to kick the drop punt, Lloydie? Made that joke? Why would you take away the guy's asset? The guy got into the bigs by kicking around the corner shots. That's what he did. That's his way. Once you start to take away who you are, Terry, it's very hard to be someone you're not under pressure. We all resort to type, don't we? When you get angry, you say something you don't mean. Because it's hard to always edit yourself. Imagine being one of them players when you're more worried about coming off the ground saying fuck than just being who you are and existing. So no wonder we've got a vanilla style of football because these players don't have that fun. They don't have. We don't even let our players be who they are. And
No,
I feel sorry for them.
We're going to win on Saturday, right?
Wow. 1% chance. 1.6 is the chance. 1.65 is West Coast chance based over the last 5 of them winning this game. So there should be no way in hell Carlton lose this game. But do you have faith? And you know what, Aidan, the best comment ever. If you actually watch an interview when Brad Scott was asked, he laughed and said, I don't like him doing the round the corner, but boy, it works for him. Well, that is the correct answer.
Yes, but let me just go back on that. When Harry started doing drop around the body kicks, in his Coleman year, he was doing it. It was fine. For some reason, there were moans and groans from all of us in 2023.
I don't think I complained about it though.
I know there is an embrace for Draper even in the crowd. He's also gone all in on it. The way his actual technique with it, the way he holds the ball in front of him, that is not the same case with Harry. We've gone through this cycle of do it our way, do it the traditional way. Sticks didn't used to hold the ball that way, neither did Fev.
You know what, personally, I would have said if I was the coach, and this is quite harsh. If I remember him being asked the question, do you like the drop punt? I would have said, you know what, just tell the fans to shut up, pay their fucking money, cheer next week. Harry kicks however he fucking wants if you want to win a flag.
You empower him.
I'd say I couldn't give a shit what people say.
Yeah.
Harry, I'm happy with Harry doing that because I want to win a flag. And if anyone's upset about it, go and support someone else. Like, that's where you throw it back at the fans. But I agree with you, Terry. I watched, you know what, people at the ground on round 1 need to have a word with themselves because the nerves when Harry takes a mark, no wonder he's feeling it.
Yeah. There's the jitters in the crowd. There's the in the crowd.
Do you know what I mean? But to put this back on the fans, you know what the fans need to do? Like, already, how do we stop Owies? How do we stop Ali Reid? Change the way you think. When I went on that Richmond show round 1, you know what shocked me? The questions weren't, how do you think we can stop Cripps? You know what the questions were? How do you think you'll stop Sam Layla? How do you think Carlton can stop Camden McIntosh when they tag Cripps with him? How can Cripps negate that? Their questions were different. Their questions were, how do you stop us? And I was like thinking to myself, you're fucking 18th, bro. You want to calm down? Like, my brain was instantly like, you guys are all right. Camden McIntosh on Cripps, behave. We need to start thinking more like that. How the fuck was Harley Reid wake up tomorrow morning and in any shape or form or way think he's going to get one up on Cripps? Because he better fucking apologise if Harley Reid goes to bed at any day this week thinking he's going to get one up on Cripps. I want a written apology from him.
Yeah.
How does Sandy Brock stop Charlie Kerner? How does he stop it? Because I think we're too nice.
Way too nice.
I genuinely think our football club has tried to escape the 80s so hard by kind of being indifferent. There is no arrogance anymore. It's faux arrogance. Like, you were asking last show, why doesn't Charlie Kerner demand the ball? Because we fucking hate arrogance at Carlton Football Club, because that's how we used to be. I'd love it if Charlie Kerner came out this week and went, I'm on Sandy Brock, bro. Who cares about last week, baby? Might get fucking 20, and guess what? I ate handballing like Hogan did. I'll kick 10.
But you've got to perform to be arrogant, and none of them are. I mean, Charlie today it was a light session. I was at training today. He did not feature very heavily at all. Maybe that's just part of his management, but how do you assess Charlie at the moment? Like, is he
I think he's playing out. I think he's playing within himself, which I think is a big sign that there's no carrot. All the job roles I've had since leaving golf have been the same. It's been reading people and motivating them. I think the biggest issue that I see with Charlie is someone that's not really enjoying his life. Thank you, babe. Someone that hasn't got a carrot to chase. So I feel like he plays within himself. I think I've spoke to Charlie one-on-one. That guy is intelligent. He understands the game. He knows what he's got to do. I'm seeing a man that's not empowered to think outside the square. Jeremy Cameron's empowered. I remember watching an interview with Chris Scott last year. He was like, I don't tell Jeremy Cameron how to play football. He knows how to do it. I just ask him to go out there and do it to the best of his abilities. Yeah. Like, what can Michael Voss tell Charlie Kerner about being a key forward? Fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Because I understand that he's had an interrupted preseason and he's going to get fit throughout the year. It's just the question is, how many games in season does he need to be fit? I thought he made some real strides against the Dogs. I don't know if you put his game against Collingwood down to fitness more than what you do the way, Collingwood played him. But yeah, we lack serious direction and leadership in our forward line at the moment.
I think we lack communication. I always go back to a good mate of mine. Yeah. He moved from non-league football up the ranks and he ended up working with Liverpool. Mm-hmm. And I've told this story before. One of my favourite conversations I've had with him is the best footballer he's ever seen on the training track and on the ground is Jordan Henderson. And I always laugh because I'm a big England fan. He always, every time I will be tweeting, how the fuck is he in the England team? And my mate always bullies me because he was like, literally, he's the best player you'll see. And what he says is the biggest value when you're a good player is your ability to dictate how the game goes. Whether you're the captain or not, you commentate the game to those around you. You're always speaking. And he was like, Jordan Henderson will be telling everyone what's about to happen. He flicks on his right side. Watch the shift. Watch the shift. He was like, he's always speaking. And he was like, that's the difference between shit football and good football. People are too scared to speak because they're thinking about their own game. The great players are so confident in their own abilities, they can tell you what to do because they're comfortable in their skin. And he was like, that as a coach, that's what you're looking for. You're so comfortable in what you do, you are brave enough to say, Cripper, he leans on his right and then he kicks on his left. Like, you're confident enough to tell someone above you, this is how it's going to go down. You see that in the second half. Carlton were very vocal against Richmond. They look like they never met each other. Like, they couldn't keep eyes on each other last week in that ceremony. That's a disjointed team, Terry. I don't think they are empowered. And Voss said something miraculous at the end of the game, Terry. It's not the time to hear from them because it's too emotional. It's the best time. The best time to ask someone how they really feel is when emotions are heightened and they're going to tell you probably 10%.
Hey, man. It's when the truth comes out.
Mate, the best time to get me telling you what I really think of you is when I'm fired up. Yeah. Because that's when I'll let it all out with 10%.
You purge it out.
As long as you're intelligent enough to kill 10%, that it's just anger, that bit, but the rest is real. That's where you want. I would have loved to have been Voss then and gone, Cripps, you are the captain. You are the fucking leader of this midfield group. Charlie, you are the leader of this forward group. Why is the connection like you fuckers have never seen each other before? Like, why? And then you might get it. Charlie going, well, Cripps handballs it to fucking Cherry in trouble all the time. And then he just fucking bombs it and misses my lead. I'm fucking sick of him, Vossy. And then Cripps is like, well, would it fucking kill you to lead to me, dickhead? You're fucking about leading over. And that's when you'd start to see it unravel as a coach. You'd be like, okay, bit of communication here. You maybe should have told him that in the second quarter, eh? Then maybe Charlie could have worked on it. And then you could have maybe listened and said, I'm going to lead here. When he goes like that, I'm going to give him 2 days off and then review it. The emotion, the disappointment has died by Tuesday, by Wednesday. I'd want to have them conversations when the disappointment is max. When everyone's going to say the C word. When everyone fucking hates each other. Because then you're really going to get to the bottom. Because I think communication is shocking at our football club, Terry.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm done, to be honest.
But Terry, we're going to beat the fucking Eagles. It is redeemable, chat. Listen to me. It is redeemable. Sometimes all you need is something to click. And the next 2 weeks, I think, will tell you everything you need to know about what happens in the future. If they bully their way over 2 wins, it's done. It's game over. If Voss has some big ball energy and Cripps has some big ball energy and they go, you know what, we're going to be a modern day team. We're going to do it. We're going to risk maybe beating these dickheads next week by just 5 points. We might beat them. We're going to change the system, though. We're going to do it now.
I look forward to seeing it. I want to see it now.
I'm with you,
Sort it out. Sort it out, lads. Sort it out, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Well, we have a giveaway this week. I will email everyone about it.
Can I guess? Are you paying for someone to go over to South Australia to watch the game?
No. People have asked me, are you going to Adelaide? I'm like, well, fucking go to Adelaide. And what the fuck am I going to do there?
I'd love to go to Adelaide, actually.
Would you? Are you sure? No offense to anyone from Adelaide. No thanks. Not for me.
Mate, a weekend away from my wife and kids. Lads on tour.
Okay, fair.
I'd come back with a tattoo, Terry.
I did have someone message me earlier who is not going to the game. And they have tickets. So, I mean, I'll deal with that on the team show. But this week, we've got a signed, framed Chris Judd career with a replica Brownlow medal in there poster. Can you believe it? It's got the certificate of authenticity as well.
You know what? After Pom had a rant about saying let's not get excited by blues of the past, Terry's
bring it, roll out, Juddy. That's it. Roll him out.
Yeah, you know what? He's probably the only fucker they haven't rolled out, is he? In the last 20 years, like we haven't actually rolled a Juddy out. I can't remember a time we've rolled him out.
Well, we can't put him back on the board. Was he on the board?
Yeah, he was. Wasn't he the diesel position?
He was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We can't roll him out again. Well, I'm rolling him out one last time. If you are a member of Blue Abroad, you have one entry automatically in there. If you would like more entries, you'll get an email tomorrow. But essentially, you become a member, name goes in the draw. I will draw out the winner on the teams show Thursday. And yes, Kate, no matter where you are in the world, I will post it out to you. I just hope that it gets there in one piece. But yeah, that's this month's giveaway. Pommy, what do you got on this week, mate?
I've got my review show. It'll probably come out tomorrow. Because I've spent all day editing it and then prepping for today. Got that. I've got the VFL wrap will come up tomorrow evening. Watch alongs. We've got, obviously, will be whatever the day is, Saturday afternoon, isn't it, or something?
Saturday,
no
1:20.
No longer prime time, baby. Now we've got dodgy time, baby. Which is good. A load of watch alongs though this week. We've got Adelaide versus Geelong and Collingwood versus Sydney as well. If you want to come and chill with Uncle Pom, we'll have a laugh. And there's no VFL this week, is there? Because obviously we've gathered around.
Classic.
They don't do it. I mean, they could still fucking play in Victoria, couldn't they? You know what I mean? Like,
why is it every time we need the VFL to play so we can have some form, they just have a bye or it just doesn't work?
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be great logic? Obviously, it's great for Adelaide residents. They get to see it and the rich that can afford to go there. But wouldn't it be great if the AFL thought, you know what, for the working man, why don't we make these feature games on like a nice prime time day so people can go and watch the game?
Oh my goodness. Is it Adelaide is it Penfold's piss up weekend for the corporates? Is that this weekend?
I might have to redo the stats.
Is that happening this weekend? Oh, imagine that. 0-4, piss up in Adelaide. Yeah, let's have a party. Yeah, great. Oh, yeah. Sardi plays his 200th game. That's good news.
Wouldn't it be great? I know Penfolds is a big sponsorship, but wouldn't it be great if they just said, look, we're all knuckling down, batten down the hatchets, it's cancelled?
No, well, that would require some form of honour.
Good point.
Anyway, ladies and gents, thanks very much.
I'm so jealous you've got a bobblehead.
I got a fucking bobblehead, man. It's got my moles on it as well and my eyebrows. Just remember, this is hopefully the end of the curse now that a fan is a bobblehead. Thanks, Christine. Have a great night, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the evening's shows. See you tomorrow. Go Blues.
Go Blues. Bring back 4.